we now proceed to the main event of the evening, the main course, if you will. That was the appetizer. The AFC is the appetizer. Now we go to the NFC, which I think is going to be a really strong conference with a bunch of double-digit winning football teams and a bunch of good teams playing against each other. I think this conference is set up to really be fun to watch this year. And so we start with the team that represented the division that had a team representing it in the Super Bowl, and that of course is the NFC West and the San Francisco 49ers. And the NFC West is going to be playing the NFC East and the AFC East. So again, not really good divisions. I think this division, particularly because of how good it is, they can get fat off of some of the teams they'll be playing on their schedule. The NFC East has a couple of teams in there that you may be able to take advantage of, maybe even 3, depending on how the Eagles season shapes up, if they can stay healthy or not. And then the AFC East, I just told you, I just think it's not going to be all that great of a division. So I think this division has a chance to really capitalize off of that, and I think they will do exactly that. And you'll find out why I think they're the best division in football. We start with the San Francisco 49ers, though. Last year, they were 13-3, 5-1 in the division. We know what they were able to accomplish. They got the number 1 seed in the AFC or NFC playoffs, ended up making it all the way to the Super Bowl before falling to the Kansas City Chiefs. Seattle Seahawks were 11-5 in this division last season. They were literally 6 inches away. Jacob Hollister just stopped touchdown away from being the number 1 seed and maybe having the playoffs go a lot differently. But they finished 11-5, 3-3 in the division last year. Rams 9-7, a little bit of a step back from them last year, 3-3 in the division. And the Arizona Cardinals 5-10-1 last year with a new head coach in Cliff Kingsbury and a brand new quarterback in Kyler Murray. They were 1-5 in the division. So the 49ers this year, I look at this team, think they've already been decimated by injuries at the receiver position, but this is a team that is predicated on being able to run the football, and they're going to be able to do that. They add Trent Williams, who, if he's back to his form, is one of the best in the game. And so they're going to be even better at running the football, if you can believe that. They were one of the best in the business last year. So despite missing some receivers, I think they'll be just fine offensively. I think what's going to hurt them this year, however, is the fact that they're now the hunted. Last year, they were the hunters. No one really knew about the 49ers. They got off to a great start, but we kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it never did. They were just good. I think they're good defensively. I think they're going to take a little bit of a step back defensively this year. I do think they're going to be still really good on defense. However, I think that other teams will be better prepared to take on this football team, and they're going to force Jimmy G, and he's going to have to step up this year. They're going to force Jimmy Garoppolo to beat them this year. Not sure if he was primed to do that last year at times, especially in the Super Bowl. I think teams are going to be a lot more aggressive in attacking the 49ers offensively and going after their run game and loading up the box and daring them to beat them through the air. And with the injuries at the receiver position, obviously you've got George Kittle. He's a problem onto himself, but got a young rookie receiver in Brandon Ayuk. Your second-year guy, Deebo Samuel, is going to be out for the early portion of the season. Not to mention a couple of other injuries and guys opting out. I just think it's a team right now that could struggle a little bit, not as much as you think. I may be making it sound a little morbid. They're not going to really struggle. They're just not going to be 13-3 this year. I've got the 49ers as a 10-6 ball club this year, but that's damn good and good enough to qualify for the postseason as well. You go to the Seattle Seahawks, who I think have one of the best quarterbacks in all of football. I think Patrick Mahomes is one, and I think dangerous Russell Wilson is the second best quarterback in the league right now. And so much like I talked about with Deshaun Watson earlier in the show and how elite quarterbacks elevate the play of guys around them, Russell Wilson has never had elite talent around him. Now, he has had some good football players. I think he's starting to actually get really good talent around him for the first time in a long time. I like what they've done at the running back position, and they've added some more pieces to that running back group. But, in looking at the receiver position, I think that's what, a lot of people are excited about. DK Metcalf looks like he's the truth. I've always been a massive fan of Tyler Lockett. And so I think they're starting to really put some of those pieces of the puzzle together in terms of getting talent out there for Russell Wilson. And this is a football team that I feel like they're, doing some really good things. They're taking steps in the right direction. I still question whether they have enough defensively up front to get after the quarterback. That's the one position where I look at it and I say, you're lacking. And it's a big, big problem for me. But in the back end, adding a Jamal Adams is going to help tremendously. It's going to allow them to do some of the things that they used to do with this defense. Now, if they can get after the quarterback, they could be a problem defensively. They added some pieces via the draft. I look at this football team. You got Russell Wilson. You got a offense that can score. You got a defense that's going to be solid. I think this is a good football team and good enough to not only make the playoffs, but win this division at 11-5. I've got the Seahawks claiming back what was rightfully theirs a few years ago, and they probably felt like should have been theirs last year, and that's the division crown out west at 11-5 and getting back to the top of the NFC West division. You go to the Rams. This was a team that was disappointing, and it's crazy when 9-7 is disappointing, but when you won the division 2 years ago, went to the Super Bowl a year after the next year, and then you fall flat on your face at 9-7, it seems like the world is over and the sky is falling, but I don't think that the Rams are that far off. They're getting into a new stadium now. They're getting comfortable. Todd Gurley's no longer there. I think they feel like they've done some things to kind of revamp the offense and tweak some things to put them back in a position to be successful once again. Defensively, they've got Jalen Ramsey locked up now. They've got the baddest man on the planet on the defensive line in Aaron Donald. This team is locked, stocked, and ready to go. They're going to miss the presence of Dante Fowler Jr. off the edge. However, I think they've got enough stuff out there, and Aaron Donald by himself is a problem. So I feel like they're going to be just fine when it's all said and done. And really what hurt them last year was their offense. The teams caught up to them. They had some injuries on the offensive side of the football. Offensive line was decimated by injuries. And I thought they kind of bogged down offensively. I think they're going to get their pep in their step back. I think what happened was year 1 and year 2, the league hadn't quite adjusted to Sean McVay. I think year 3, they did make the adjustment. Now McVay is going to make the adjustment to the adjustment. And I think he's going to be a step ahead of the game again. And they're going to be a really competitive team once again. And doesn't hurt to be playing the NFC East and the AFC East either. And I think the Rams are right back in the mix as a competitive team. And they too qualify for the postseason at 10-6 this year. So this is a really good division, as I told you. I really think highly of the NFC West. And then where does that leave the Cardinals, a team that I think is going to be vastly improved this year? Well, I think, first of all, I've been on the Cliff Kingsbury train since he got the job in Arizona. Everyone who has been following me for any amount of time knows that I've been a huge fan of his, and I thought he was going to do a really good job. That being said, now you add Kyler Murray going into year 2. A lot of people think he's going to be in the position to go for the MVP this year. I don't know about that, but you add Newt Hopkins to the mix, and all of a sudden you think that they're going to be dynamic, and they've got a lot of weapons out there, man. They're going to be fun to watch. That is a loaded football team with Larry Fitzgerald, Larry Legend out there, Christian Kirk, and they really like Andy Isabella. They've got weaponry, speed everywhere, guys that can run. They've got the 2 best set of hands in the entire league, and Newt Hopkins on one side and Larry Fitzgerald on the other. So, I mean, all he's essentially got to do is just throw it up there, and these guys will go and get it for him. So, not to mention Kenyon Drake in the backfield. They've got a chance to be one of the more dynamic and explosive offenses in football. And they've got one of the best pass rushers in Chandler Jones on their football team on the defensive side of the football. They just gave Budda Baker a massive deal as a safety that's a guy that can move around and do a lot of things for them. Patrick Peterson still playing good football. They've added pieces out there. They feel like they've got a chance to really compete. I'm really fascinated by the Cardinals. I think they're 1 year away from making a power move, but this is a really good step in the right direction. I've got them going 9-7 this year. Now, no losing records in this division. Every team finishing over 500. You've got the 11-5 Seahawks winning division. You've got the 10-6 49ers and the 10-6 Rams. All three teams qualifying for the postseason. And the Arizona Cardinals just missing out. And with this revamped, reworked playoff system, 4 teams could essentially make the postseason from one division. All 4 teams could make it. The Cardinals are just going to miss out.